Hello Leo, welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. The readings have taken on a kind of story format. I mean, they're always kind of a story, right? But especially, and the influence of the eclipse is really strong. I like to think of my readings as timeless, and I think that all readings are. Even if the creator intends it deliberately for a particular time period, Spirit doesn't really care about that, right? If you come upon a reading 3 years after it was recorded, it could easily have something important to say. But there is the eclipse is definitely showing up in this reading. The first official part of it is on September 7th, when there is a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. And then the other half is September 21st, when we have a second new moon in Virgo. And we're already, these cosmic events have a ripple, and they ripple out in both directions, before and after. So we are already feeling this. And it's certainly coming through in your reading, which is certainly very mystical and symbolic and all of these things. But we'll see, maybe there will even be some practical information in it. I don't quite know where it's all going to go. We start with this card from the Wordless Oracle, and you are landing. And this, I think, is the future. This is what is coming. You are about to make landfall. I don't know, this does show two people. So you might be on this journey, very much with another person. It's also possible that although we're seeing two people in a single boat, that you're arriving separately. Perhaps. And that you'll meet up on the shore. Maybe you don't even know that there's a second person in the boat with you. That's another possibility. It's also possible that we're talking about your soul, your guides being in the boat with you. But you are making landfall. The scene underlying is the journey that you've been making. Below that, we have this wonderful card. There's an ecstatic quality to this. I think you are very glad to be headed to wherever this landfall is. Now, the unseen underlying is this card. And I want to say from a couple of other things in the reading that we'll get to, that what's happening here is that you were sent. That this, where you are landing now, is very much was planned, was desired, was foreseen, in the sense that it was planned. You may not feel that way. Or it may be that it feels very much to you. Like you're on your way somewhere because you've been sent on a mission. So we have the shaman, and he's actually got some backup singers. I feel like they're maybe they're behind him. doing their portion of the ritual. There's also this Page of Vessels. And this is actually feeling like your soul. You know, maybe a view of your soul just before choosing this life. And below that, actually, is this Ace of Cups, the water of life. Now the underside has this Eight of Arrows with struggle. And this may be how life felt for a long time. And then you met up with the shaman. And the shaman is either, it could be a person, could be this whole spiritual world. And it's really broad. I mean, you may have wandered around in it a little while before you really, you know, found your way to this particular cave, to this particular vision. And then you've spent some time in this kind of communion energy. Exploring your own mind, exploring your body, exploring different traditions, different ideas. Maybe you did a shamanic training. Or some other sort of course or, you know, study. Maybe you studied herbalism. I don't know what it is, but you spent time here. And there is a communion happening here. So now, the Fool. And this may be, I mean, I think this is another thing that has already happened. I think this row is a little bit of the past, this period of events. Because then you meet up with this King of Stones. And more than this being the King of Pentacles, it's this sense of the wild, a sense of having your own authority, your own stability. That even if you learned a bunch of stuff in here, that you know you're not beholden to anybody, to any, you know, specific or particular view of anything. There's a freeing from constraints. There's a new feeling around the physical world. There is maybe a more visceral understanding of energetics, of the mystical. We do have the full moon here in the background. There is also, with this howl that's happening here, communication. And it may be that this is the first communication that you have with this other person, possibly. Come now to the Moth. This energy of night. It's a mystical energy, a very psychic kind of energy, this communication through the dark. And interestingly, below that is the Firefly, which is also a nighttime visitor and is also about communication. The fireflies communicate with each other. Below that, we have the sea serpent. More of this consciousness, quantum space, creational energy. This usually reminds me of, an egg and sperm. It is in this deck associated with the sacral chakra. That is about creation. It is the womb in a woman. The sexual space for both sexes. And then on the bottom is the unicorn. I think that he's associated with the third eye in this deck. But he's, this figure of the fairy realm, of the unseen. And he is the underlying energy here. There's a real connection here with, what I call the unseen. We don't really have a good name for it. Or we have too many names. And then the vulture. And what's interesting is that he's not, this vulture has finished. The vulture is a symbol of, nothing being wasted, of utilizing everything that has been, of cleaning up anything that remains. I usually refer to the Ten of Swords as the corpse. So it's the cleaning up of the corpse. But all of that is finished. What the vulture is doing now is sitting on this egg. And this very much has this eclipse energy. There's a plutonic feeling to it. This transformation. Right? That this egg, this cosmic egg, is about to hatch. And what comes out is a fish. Right? Pisces, the Pisces full moon, the eclipse, moving through this cosmic ocean, through consciousness, through imagination. Saturn has today, that I record this, September 1st, has returned to Pisces. He's there until early next year before he returns to Aries. And then Neptune will follow. I'm not sure when that happens. Offhand, when Neptune returns. In October, somewhere. Neptune will return to Pisces as well. So this Pisces-Virgo axis is extra strong at the moment. I mean, the nodes are there in Pisces and Virgo, and also these two major planets are returning there. Just post the eclipse. So there's a lot of this psychic consciousness, quantum, unseen, magical, mystical energy that's really out there now, right? You are out on it. You know, we've all been getting our sea legs. I've been talking about Sagittarius and Gemini getting their sea legs, having been squared by Neptune and Pisces for 14 years. But I think it's true of all of us. And if you're somebody who's in this spiritual, magical place, I think everything is going to become heightened for you. And we have this Nine of Wands, this Nine of Fire, which in this deck is, for me, the realization of this capability. You know, this girl, she wanders into this cave, she finds these stars and realizes that she has this skill to, you know, to create with this energy. Right below her, right, this transformation. And below that, Eight of Fire. And this is a really playful Eight of Fire. Right? It's not so much fast moving. A panda is not a really fast moving form of transportation. But there's playfulness. And below that, to confirm that, is the Page of Cups reappearing, and also actually the Three of Water and the Three of Cups. So this is meant to be really joyous. It can have a kind of heavy energy. I think there is this, right, the eclipse is a bit of a heavy thing, as is Pluto. But Pisces is a very playful sign. And Leo as well. I think of Leo and Pisces as the two kind of childlike signs. You know, with Leo, maybe actual children, and then Pisces conjures this kind of pixies and fairies being playful energy. So even though it can seem very serious, right, the shaman has kind of a serious thing going on, but this, right, this party's going on in the background. Right, and your soul coming through as this Page of Cups energy. The bottom here is this Three of Stones reappearing, Three of Earth. And here there's a real expectation. You've been doing what you're doing. And now there's an expectation of something. And I think the expectation is of greater understanding, of greater clarity. Maybe more knowledge showing up. Perhaps the next step, you land here, and then, where do you go? So that the expectation is of that. There may be a little bit of mental agitation about it. You may find yourself feeling, impatient, perhaps. Where is it? You may also find lots of new ideas, new thoughts arriving, and it may feel a little chaotic. Right? The sense of balancing on a wire. But it won't last. Right? The information is coming. And the key here is to be open. Right? To be open to the High Priestess. And she feels very much like a guide along the way. You know, you were sent. You've done the things. And then you meet her. And I think she reveals the next destination. So this is just a stand-in for whatever the destination is. Might literally be a new place, might be a new home, might be a new job, might be a new person, might, you know, I don't know what it is. But it's something exciting. It's something that's fully finished and ready to go. You know, if it's actually a new home, it is just how you want it, or, you know, just at the right moment. So that could be that it's really absolutely complete, finished, painted down to the last millimeter. Or it might be that it's a fixer-upper because that's what you would really enjoy. That it's a, you know, sort of a blank canvas or a, you know, maybe it's just a shell and you're going to fill it in. And whether that's a house or a business or whatever it is. Whatever the most fun thing is. Whatever would be fun. For some people, it would be really fun to get in there and, you know, renovate and have the joy of, you know, directing all of the details. And for somebody else, they might just want it all nice and finished and done. You can move in and, you know, have your housewarming party 2 days later. Or somewhere in between. But it is the next destination. I don't know, this High Priestess. Wanting her own, wanting to say something else specific in this moment. Oh, and there's the Hermit, Virgo, who's on the underside. 6 of Wands, that's very exciting. Success, victory. Oh, the Ace of Pentacles under the Hermit. What do we have here? The Chariot. The Lovers. The 2 of Pentacles. And the 7 of Pentacles. So I think what's coming to mind is it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. There is this wonderful moment when you find what you've been seeking. And it may be a person, or it may be, a thing in some way, a profession, a place. But it is not the end. Right? The Seven of Pentacles is about the process. And maybe to really, to really enjoy the process. To enjoy this whole thing. And that can sometimes be a little challenging, right? You want the thing. But to find a way to really enjoy the whole process. Right? We have follow the stream. Dedication, trust, future, rivers and oceans. So you've landed, or you're about to, but it's not the last river. Below that we have the golden children. Inner child tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. Those pages of water. The Page of Cups. The underside is cleansing. Releasing the old, energetic tune-up, new beginnings. We also have the great severing. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. But I think, right, this, there's this crack here that's forming. That there's going to be, because then we also have this cracked open. We've had the vulture energy. Wherever it was that you came from is now going to be, it'll sort of, right, you're on this side and this whole part that's in the past is just going to break away. And then we have this end call, healer, seer card, right? Babies born and call. That were thought to be mystical and sometimes a little dangerous. I don't have the sense, and of course, this might be, might vary. I don't get the sense that you are becoming a prophet or a seer. In a kind of, like in a professional sense. I sometimes get that feeling for in the Pisces readings. Yours seems to be more about how you make your personal choices. So you're a seer for yourself. Your ability to know and follow your intuitive knowing is increasing. Right? These skills are heightening, really coming online. But it may not mean that, you're meant to, suddenly be a professional reader. It doesn't really feel that way. It feels as if it's a tool for you to use in your life. So, formal advice. Well, we have this tower. right? We have this ending, this great severing, this cracked open, this vulture energy. And you need to allow that. There may be more that's leaving than you think. If we take this house example, which is nice and neutral, you know, you leave everything, you know, except your most personal possessions. You know, even things that you thought you were going to hang on to. Maybe you have a favorite chair, or, you know, a particular set of dishes, or, you know, a really nice bookshelf that you really like. Whatever it is, that you actually just leave all of it. That there will be more that is released perhaps than you're expecting, and to allow that. Don't be grippy, because right below that we have the sun. I like the sun. And here, I mean, also again, sun and moon, more eclipse feeling. Mars is in Libra currently. He's associated with the Tower. He moves into Scorpio, actually in not too far from now, into his home space. Below the sun, we have the Queen of Wands. There you are, in your Queen aspect. The Lovers. The choosing from love. Making heart-based choices, making fun-based choices. And the Ace of Cups again. And I'm actually going to go two more, because we have the Seven of Wands. That's Mars in Leo. And then the King of Wands, which is your other, you as the king. So there may be, that we, with the King and Queen of Wands, that is sort of a little subtle thing about whoever this, that for some of you, you're going to encounter this other person after you make landfall. And then maybe you've actually been traveling in the same canoe without knowing it. That maybe you've been through many of the same experiences, that you've had, you know, you have similar dreams. The underside here is the Ten of Wands, another card of completion and dropping everything. And I want to say that this may be dropping, it may be dropping old dreams, old inspirations, old, you know, ideas you may have had about, you know, maybe where you wanted to live or what you wanted your house to look like. And just dropping all of that. All right, leaving behind more than you expect. Next to that, I am going to show it, is the Hierophant. This feels like the energy that sent you. That was the first thought I had when I saw this card. You know, maybe your soul, maybe source itself, or, you know, I don't know. It's so difficult to talk about these things because I don't really know how it works. I have an idea. I have kind of an image, but so much of what I know is, you know, this physical world. So I think that maybe I cannot conceptualize what it's really like in the unseen, in the energetic world. I had a little interruption there. So, as I was saying, I don't really, you know, talking about, you know, we talk about the oversoul, which may be the bigger soul family. You know, it's difficult to talk about. So I don't want to put a label on this energy that sent you. in whatever way that occurs. So we have the Four of Cups. And this is coming through actually as discernment. You know, really knowing what cup to take, not taking a cup that isn't yours. But also to not, to not slip into this attitude of, she feels a little despairing, actually. You know, she's dressed for a nice warm day, but there's all this winter around her. And I feel like the winter is in her mind. That in fact, if we came upon her in the forest, it would be a lovely day. And it's only winter in her mind. So to keep summer in your mind. And then we have judgment, with this very interesting sort of psychic judgment. Keep awareness. Pay attention. Pay attention to what comes through, even in details. Mind the synchronicities. Mind symbols when they show up for you. Remember, there are no accidents or coincidences. And enjoy it. You have fun with that. It's not like homework. Four of Swords. Rest when you need to. This is not some sort of marathon where you have to keep going regardless. When you need to rest, rest. When you want to take time to dream, do that. And then the Empress. Fun. Sensual experience. Love. Creation. Receptivity. Imagination. She's moving through Leo at the moment. On September 19th, she slips into Virgo. But so she's still with you all the way through the first part of the eclipse. And then she moves into Virgo to be there. She'll be there for that second Virgo new moon. Really enjoying things, enjoying your life, enjoying this process, enjoying all the steps along the way. But you're about to make landfall, Leo. And I think that things will become clearer, though there may be some chaos too. And there may be more things that you're going to release than you thought. But it's all, it's all for your benefit. I hope that this is exciting. and that you're looking forward to it. I wish you all the very, very best, Leo, and I'll see you next time. So long.